was then the scientist at NASA.
Oh, you are working for a very luxurious car company.
Yes.
Being a female and working for a car company, how did that happen? Do you feel robots will take over, especially in the process of manufacturing? Job that has been there in software industry currently are very fragile, isn't it?
Yes.
How secure the job in this field you see as of today's day?
The HR asked all personal questions possible, and there was this one time I lost my calm.
Today's episode is again a very special episode because today I have interviewed Karishma. This interview is special in a way that being a female and still working for a biggest manufacturing car company in India is not an easy job. Being a female, why she chose this industry, how was the journey, how she got placed into it, and how can someone like you can work for this kind of industry? Is it worthy to work in this kind of industry? How would the evolvement of AI is going to shape this industry, and how someone like you and me can get benefit out of it? So stay tuned and enjoy the episode. The episode starts in 3, 2, 1. You are working for a very luxurious car company.
Yes.
Being a female and working for a car company, how did that happen?
Oh, that was quite a journey, I would say.
Okay.
So, I'm basically a mechanical engineer.
Oh, you are into mechanical engineering. Okay.
Yes. So, from mechanical, and right now my profile is into manufacturing.
Okay.
So, yes, being a female, that journey looks like okay, that is something extraordinary. And it was, but I would say the extraordinary part was in a good way. So when I joined BTech as like my course as mechanical, I think we were four women
Girls. Yeah.
in a batch of 70, and that itself was quite. For us, it was not shocking. For the other guys in the class were, because usually it would be only one or two girls
Mm.
in a batch of 70. So we in our batch, there were still more women. However, the people in this field, if there are women, they actually support you a lot, I would say. For example, in our first years, we have to do workshops, first and second year both. And workshops, may you have to do drilling, you have to file things and everything.
To cut.
कटिंग वगैरह सब कुछ तो उसमें उन लोग हेल्प करते हैं दे आर लाइक कि ओके वी नो दैट एज अ फीमेल द स्ट्रेंथ पार्ट ऑफ इट the intellectual part of it will be good, but the strength part of it might vary. So there are people who are supportive on that part, that okay, you can take support for few things. And down the lane again, I would say everyone encourages you a lot, because there are very few female in this field. So the male, I would say the male community also are quite supportive, at least some percentage of it. For some percentage, there are obviously criticism that why did you choose this? You could have done computer science, you could have done electronics, quite easy things. But yeah, I think it is mainly because of my interest in physics. That is where I went into mechanical.
So, the correct question will be, why mechanical engineering? Was it always on the bucket list, or was it something that appeared around, let's say, 12th standard or something? Or have you been inspired by someone who has been into this field? Because if you, most, as you said, in your batch itself, 4 girls, that is the case of every engineering college in India.
Yes.
If you see, most of the girls will be found in electronics or CS and IT.
Mhm.
So what brings you to choose mechanical engineering?
As you said, was there someone who inspired me? So I think it was in class ninth somewhere. There was this one alumni of our school
Okay.
who he came, and he was then the scientist at NASA.
Oh, okay.
And that is where he explain the physics around different things. So my first thought was, okay, can I reach somewhere at that place? Not
Right.
somewhere there exactly, but something like that. And that is where I thought of taking science. That okay, I was sure at the starting of class standard 9, I was sure that okay, I would be taking science
So this is on school.
in school. Yes.
Okay.
And once I took science and we got more into the details of physics. So I always loved maths. That was always the primary part. But once I started learning physics, understanding the concept behind things, what are happening, I really liked, I was very curious,
Science behind it.
science behind it. And the way especially the in physics, there is a part called mechanics,
Right.
which helps you understand all the Newton's laws and everything, and which helps you understand how, because of what reasons the energies are getting transferred or things are happening. That got me a bit more curious towards manufacturing, or I would say towards automobile industry also. Like if a car is moving, what is driving the car to move? And that small inspiration, that's inspiration from that one person who gave a, I think it was just a 5 minutes to 10 minute speech in our assembly hall, which drove me towards science. And then within time I started getting my interest area. So from mechanical, within mechanical we have many domains. From mechanical coming to manufacturing was again out of my interest of how things are getting manufactured, how things are getting produced. So I would say it started with an inspiration, but then it was a journey with experience.
Understood. Yeah, that defines now ki why being a female now you are into a position that you are
Yes.
in. So my next question is coming from mechanical background.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, for the company you are working, are you doing something related to machinery or heavy lifting or let's say lab that you used to do manufacturing, strict manufacturing, those kind of work, or you're doing something on the system?
So we are doing something on the system. It is digital, but it is 100% related to manufacturing. So working. I'm not working in hand on hand processes with the robots or with the equipments. However, I am one of the digital planners for. So my role is a digital planner, and we plan the entire manufacturing processes. Like for example, if there is a if two plates are to be joined, and there's a process.
Okay.
The process is already defined by the design engineer. What process will be required to join it, but how to manufacture that? Do I need a human to do that? I need a equipment to do that, and if yes, how do I need to load those parts? So that is what is a process planner. So he or she plans the entire thing.
Okay.
So if you have to produce a small part, supposedly your phone case, right now, okay, that would be a wrong example because
Let's
it's
say
casted.
we have to connect two pieces, cube pieces of iron for some frame.
Cube,
I mean, let's
two
say
plates, two rectangular
two
plates,
rectangular
okay,
plates you
yeah.
need to connect.
And now to connect that, for example, it is of the same material. We are doing spot welding.
Okay.
Then there are things that the first thing would be in how much time I have to do that, and based on that time, how I need to load the part. Should the first part be A or the first part be B?
Okay.
How to load them one after another, and whether I am doing it with a worker with a manual gun, or do I need to put a robot? So these are some things which we already know based on the lines how they are, and we plan it throughout. So once the first part is done, if the second part is coming to it, and that is how we build the entire BIW of the car. So my entire role is uh, digital process planner for the BIW, for the structure of the car.
PIW when you say?
Body in white. So body in white is
BIW.
the structure of the car. So there is the body, right, on which the engine gets fits into, all the accessories gets fit into. So I work in the area where we only manufacture the structure, and then there are other people who works for the other areas.
Understood. Most of the real manufacturing that happens doesn't happen in India. In order to India be self-sufficient, it has to manufacture a lot of things, not just socks or clothes. Rather than it has to manufacture chips, let's say equipments for luxury segment cars or things like that. So the manufacturing that happening, actual manufacturing, are those units in India?
For this car company, yes.
Yes, it is there.
Yes, it
Okay.
is there. There is a manufacturing sector.
Mm.
And I would say that was the case maybe few years back.
Okay.
So a few years back, a lot of things were being imported from other countries.
Mm.
But now India have grown a lot into the manufacturing sector. Like there are now companies who come to India because manufacturing in India is cost saving. It's more efficient with the same amount of quality.
Okay.
So still there is a room for improvement. There always is, and since it is right now a developing stage. However, yeah, with time this has improved a lot. To give an example, I think we as a company used to import the cars previously entirely from the other countries, but now the we build 80% of it in India,
Okay.
and for few models maybe 100% of it. So now the scope of manufacturing or the competence in manufacturing in India have improved a lot.
Oh, nice. That is really good to know, because a lot of countries that has taken advantage of that manpower. Because right now the young generation will be old after 20 years,
Exactly.
and once they're old, next generation who will be working are less. I mean, let's say in our family, working people are more, and parents who are not working are less.
Exactly.
But that's going to change in 20 years. You
I
getting what
would
I'm?
agree to that. Like, if you see the current developed countries, the same thing is happening. The ratio of the youngsters working to the elderly working is very different. Like, the elderly in the developed countries right now, the youngsters are more into, they are working, but maybe a lot of sidekicks, which they are trying to make it as a main business. But working into the core sectors or working into sectors like manufacturing, a few others also, I would say, the ratio is getting decreased. The elderlies are more and the youngsters are less now.
But if elders are more, don't you think that's going to get reduced eventually with the time?
Yes, because once they retire, there won't be more people to work at all.
Exactly. So, so in that case, let's say, do you feel robots will take over especially in the process of manufacturing?
For sure. Right now, they have started taking over. Like in India, the lines what we have are manual still, but outside India, most of the lines are robotic. I work for almost the plannings which I do are almost automated lines. There is no manual interventions. Like not 100% robotic, maybe it's 80%. It's a semi-automatic. Mostly those are semi-automatic lines, but yeah, it's mostly robotic. In manufacturing, yes, for sure.
Someone passed out from mechanical engineering and wants to join as how you are working, wants to go as a career path that you have been into. Let's say you have to take interviews for that person. What you will expect from them, especially on technical knowledge? Apart from technical knowledge, if you expect something else, what it could be?
Okay, so I would say there are 2 to 3 parts of this answer. The first is if he or she is a mechanical engineer, or be it any person, if they are a mechanical engineer, then they really have to have a strong hold of their basics.
Okay.
Because most of the time, so this is my second company which I have been working, but I have also been interviewed for more than 2 companies.
Mm.
And most of the time, the question starts from the basic. I would even say the basics of 11th and 12th included.
Oh, okay.
So you like throughout when you grow, you should know the basics, how a small manufacturing process works. For example, if we are casting,
Mm.
casting is like you pour metal into already casted shape. It cools down and take a form. So if you're casting, then the basic of casting should be clear because the question can come from any of the principles. So that is one very important part. This was one of the examples from the manufacturing because casting is a manufacturing process. But the same is into mechanical. We have design aspects, we have fluid mechanics. So everywhere the basic should be really very clear. That is the first thing. The next comes on the role part. That which role are you applying for?
Mm.
So when it is even campus placement, the same company can have two, three roles. Like for the company which I'm working, they came for I think 3 or 4 different roles. So now you know which role you are going to apply for, and based on that role, you should prepare the expected questions for that role. Uh, for an example, if I say, I joined in an automotive company. The first question for me was, can you explain the entire manufacturing process of a car?
Oh.
From a block of metal,
Mm.
how it is manufactured into a car, I had to explain that.
Okay.
And since I knew that, I think that was the major benefit because I explained the entire processes. And when you start this, they would be so you also have to the third part now you also have to have the patience in you to hear what they are asking,
Mm.
take a moment, think, and also answer. So technically these three things are very much important. Other than technical part, I think a little bit on the communication, like how confidently you sit for the interview, because all of us are very tensed.
Yes.
But as soon as the interview start, and if your first 2 questions goes very good, you will be very confident for the next questions to
True.
come.
True.
But if your first 2 questions are messed up, this have happened for one of the interviews which I could not clear. When the first 2 questions are messed up, after that I was like, okay, how do I answer the next ones? And it became very difficult. By the end, I knew answers, but I could not answer.
Mm.
So I think keeping patience, and this will be a learning. मेरे लिए एक लर्निंग था मैंने कुछ इंटरव्यूज पहले खराब करे, एंड देन आई लर्न कि अच्छा दिस आर द थिंग्स व्हिच आई एम नॉट डूइंग करेक्ट,
Mm.
एंड दैट इज हाउ आई लर्नड हाउ टू ब्रिंग इट इनटू माय नेक्स्ट इंटरव्यूज.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, clearing interview is not like you attend one interview and you'll clear that.
Exactly.
You have to go for multiple interviews.
And also it depends on the mindset of the other person who is
True.
sitting there.
Yes.
Because we might feel that the other person is looking for the technical details only,
Mm.
but there might be other things involved.
Yes.
I still remember there was this one company for which I cleared all the technical part, and technical part of it there were 2 3 technical rounds, and then there was this HR round for which I was not aware that it is a pressure handling round.
Oh.
The HR asked all personal questions possible, and there was this one time I lost my count. I was like, why are you even asking all those questions? This is irrelevant.
Oh, okay.
And that is when I realized, okay, it is there can be few companies who also test how well you handle pressure. How would you work in a situation where you have a lot of pressure, a lot of deadlines? So it's a mix of the first thing, technically you should be very sound, and the next thing, how you are presenting yourself in that particular interview, and what the interviewer is looking for. So I think both aspects are very important.
So you said, according to the job role,
Mhm.
you have to prepare.
Yes.
Someone is coming from a mechanical engineering. What kind of job role? What kind of different job roles? Two,
Mhm.
three, if you can give an example, so that if someone watching, they can at least make a pathway. Ki, yes, this role sounds interesting to me. Maybe I will prepare towards
Okay.
this side.
So I would speak from my experience.
Hmm.
So, mechanical is a very broad category.
Okay.
Within mechanical, you have subjects like fluid mechanics,
Right.
okay, or manufacturing itself, production engineering as a subject, or industrial engineering, quality subjects related to quality.
Mm-hmm.
So there are various roles. If you go to a proper production-based company, which are actually producing car, and you are going on the shop floor,
Mm.
you have jobs like production engineer, you have
Right.
quality engineers, you have industrial engineers, you have design engineers who oversee the entire product, you have product engineers who have, so there are design engineers who have designed the product, but the product engineers are the one who are refining it more based on a lot of factors. There are crash engineers who do testing for crash.
Okay.
So I would say it's a
So vast
variety and vast roles what you
options are there.
have.
Technology is getting advanced very fast.
Yes.
AI and all. So the job that happening in AI industry, software industry in general, the job that has been there in software industry currently are very fragile, isn't it?
Yes.
Anytime, any moment, everyone is scared. So related to that, how security of the job in this industry, let's say manufacturing industry in general, or let's say car manufacturing, or in that matter of fact, manufacturing industry altogether, how how secure of the job in this field you see is of today's date?
I think it's not 100% as fragile as IT,
Mm.
because for IT, I think they now don't even need coders because of
Correct.
AI. But yes, the impact is also there in the manufacturing industry or the automobile industry, as in a lot of automations are coming into place.
Mm.
I mentioned at the first that my work is entirely digital. So, if my work can be automated, if my kind of work are being done by right now maybe 5 engineers, then the number of engineers requirement after automation maybe only one or maybe two. So yes, it is getting impacted, and that is one example.
Mm.
If you see, there are people who are working on the production line, as I said, as you asked,
Mm.
are the processes manual? So previously there were workers who used to do the job.
Okay.
Now robots have already come into the so the industry 4.0 is entirely with robots and everything. So a lot of jobs on those part have been reduced because workers working into it. In few areas, it won't be impacted. For example, a design engineer.
Mm.
For a car to be designed, you will need a design engineer. Okay, few tweaks can be done by AI, but
Mm.
as a human being, you are always aware that what is an AI and what is reality.
Right.
So, with that perception, design engineers are always required. So, some part of it can be removed with automation,
Mm.
but there will be people required to oversee the automation of the work, to see the quality the automation is giving. For example, the work which I do now with 5 years of experience, no one needs to oversee my work because I have the experience, I have seen the plants, I know what to do, what not to do. When an automation comes into it and the first output is there, there is a need of a person who sees that the entire line which is being designed, is it practically possible or not possible?
Mm.
So yeah, the impact is there. We feel
Mm.
it daily. But yes, the way IT is more fragile, I think it's not that fragile.
Mm.
It was already impacted with robots coming into picture. So the mechanical industry already they got affected from that part itself.
Mm. Will you advise someone getting passed out, or will you advise anyone in that matter of fact to go into this field or to go into software industry? So that will cover going forward job security as well as the earning beneficial in terms of package, how much you'll be earning from this industry, how much you're earning are going to earn from that industry, job security going forward, how much you're going to get it from here, how much you're going to get it from there. Let's add a balance of work-life balance to it. So, will you advise someone, or would you be interested to change anytime from this industry to software?
Hmm. Oh, that's a question coming from a long time from many people.
Okay.
Uh, so it depends. Uh, I have also learned a part of coding
Okay.
during my college years, and especially for my master's project, I required it, so I also implemented a part of it. But my interest was always core. My
Okay.
interest was always the technical part of it. So I'm working for the technical part. But with the current uh, scenario, what is happening in the market, you cannot survive with only the mechanical stream or the manufacturing stream as the base.
Okay.
You need to have software knowledges, you need to be up to date with the market. You don't have to be with, especially with low code, no codes and AI, you don't have to be a coder,
Mm.
but you should know how to read a code, so that if some applications are to be developed to automate your work, you are the one who is doing it and you are
Understood.
overseeing it.
Understood.
So if I have to say, package wise, obviously the IT sector, they gives a lot, that is a lot good place to be. The core sector still could not match to the packages what IT offers. But if I need to suggest someone, I would mainly say based on their interest. However, if they are selecting mechanical as an option, or jobs related to mechanical design, fluids, or manufacturing, anything, they also need to be multi competent. Like they also need to have a base of software topics, or in today's world, maybe AI topics. That how can you bring AI into mechanical? So that combination is really required. Even if I have to say for myself, I do feel I need to upgrade myself now to survive in this industry. I need to learn at least a skill, one or two more skill, depending on what the market needs to survive. Otherwise, down the lane in next 5 years, it would be very difficult only with this portfolio to survive in this industry.
Understood. Understood. So because you are into this car manufacturing industry, how is EV affecting, or how is the EV revolution happening in this industry? Because nowadays, if you see, a lot of EV options are coming out in all the segments, and people are also preferring,
EV.
if you see the Iran war, petrol and diesel, basically oil
Yes.
is going to take a lot of hit on that matter of fact. So how is that changing the industry, the job, the picture of in total?
Okay. So it have also two segments. One, the general usage cars.
Okay.
So EV is a great benefit to the entire community. Like EV has come, people would prefer, they are looking for EV based cars and everything.
Right.
But if you come to luxury segment, it is a great opportunity, but it's a great challenge as well. Because luxury cars, when people see luxury, they just don't need a car. They also relate it to having an engine to hear that sound, especially
Okay.
car lovers. So yeah, a lot of people are moving towards EV, but there are still a group of people who want a luxury car and who also want to feel the engine. So you
Yes.
have to keep the ICE, the internal combustion engine cars, on the luxury platform.
Okay.
But you also have to build a EV luxury car, which will also support the market. With that, the problem is that you have to work on two different platforms, one for batteries, one for an engine. So that is where it is complex. But opportunity wise, yeah, I think the industry is moving more towards EV, and now it is more so. One more, and it's a very important point, especially in luxury segments. Everything is customized, so it is customer like oriented. If a customer want an ice, the company have to be flexible enough to provide an ice to them, that is combustion engines. If if a customer wants an hybrid, that it should be a electric vehicle along with engines into it, the company should be able to provide that.
Okay.
And if they want a complete electric vehicle, the company should be able to provide that. That is where the challenge comes, to bring so many things within one segment.
Because you're working in a car manufacturing company,
Hmm.
the general belief is you working for the same company, all the designs, all the products, all the services that you're doing for the same company itself.
Yes.
Is it true that you are only entitled for that company and you are working only for that company, or you give services to different company, or you take services from different company, or let's say someone is working in a software industry, let's say they have a client relationship,
Yes.
which you will get hired for a company, but your client location will be different for which you'll be working. Those those concepts does applies here. Is that so, or am I missing something?
Okay. So basically, yes, the company I'm working for is a little bit mix of product and service.
Okay.
More inclined towards the product based, because we are working only for one parent company. We are not working for many different companies,
Right.
or we are giving them services. No, we are only providing work to a one parent company with few roles, since it's a company based out of India. So few roles are responsibility driven, task driven. Few roles are support driven.
Okay.
The support driven tasks are mostly, you can see that as a service like work, but that is how the work is, that we work only for a one company. But while doing this support driven task, we do take we do hire people from external companies. So we do take support from service based companies. So we are their customers basically. They are our suppliers. And for example, if we need a person, or if we have a topic which would only be there for 6 months, and rather than hiring a full time competent engineer, I can look for an engineer in a service based company who is competent in that particular area, and then we hire them, get the work done, and then they can move to their own company back.
It was nice knowing you.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you.
Thank you. I think it was nice for me also, giving these answers and helping someone out.
Yeah.